today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to correctly paint a statue. I got this from a lady that was moving out of state, so she couldn't take everything with her. So she gave me this statue along with some other things that I've been painting throughout the few weeks that I haven't been around on YouTube. Basically, YouTube hasn't gone anywhere, so I'm more doing work for myself opposed to doing work for people that are watching, like yourself, if you're watching, because normally people don't watch anymore or don't comment, which is fine. Like, so a few people that would like help, this will be the easiest way for me to teach you instead of like explaining certain things in every little video. So what I got here, see these drips? These drips are the lady that originally had this painted these the statue with, I believe, some kind of spray paint, but really by the tell of the drips, by the way it's dripping, it could be like regular craft paints like I have. She claimed to do this sorts of arts all the time, but she didn't take the time to do the work correctly. So what I'm going to do here is paint over everything, and so bear with me here. I'm not sure how long these videos are going to be or whatnot. Hopefully there's no background noise, but I'm going to quickly go over this. And what I got for you over here, you can see in the background here, is these different paintbrushes. See, if you use the right paintbrush for certain materials, say if you're painting something that has like a texture on it, you go with more of a brush that has a widening spread of coverage to cover than what you would have for these kind of brushes, which I'd use these kind of brushes for wood, maybe staining or varnish or just small wooden projects. I wouldn't use them for anything else, just like this. I would use these for small wood projects, maybe a poster or project, something of that nature. Then you got these brushes that are like for fine detail brushes for in between these crevices. See, if I wanted to, for an example, I'm going to paint this in here. Hopefully you can see it. This is for like small detail in between areas so that you don't go over top of anything else. Put a little bit more paint on that brush there. See, what people tend to do a lot of times is they put too much paint on their brush and it causes everything to run, and they do too many coats in between each layer when you're supposed to give at least a good couple hours for your work to dry before you start any new coats. Because after you paint that first coat or the second coat on, you gotta look over and see if there's any runs or lines in the paint. And some people, they just carelessly don't do that because they're in a rush. It's like, there's an old saying, but I'm not sure what it is because I'm not good with remembering them kind of things, but something about patience and a steady work, or a steady pace. I don't know where to work at. And I'm not sure if you can see it, but there's a spot here that's broken out. I'll fix this later on in a different video. For now, I'm going to do these videos in sections, kind of like a show, so you can see exactly what I'm doing while I'm doing it and describe it to the best of my ability. So hopefully if I get enough people will be able to watch, or to make it worth my time of continuing, I will do more of these on all kinds of different styles of art that I do. See, I'm using a big brush here, but if I wanted to, if I was painting this part first, I could always, if I was going on to the second part here, I could always go for a smaller brush. Like, there's a fine detail, thinner brush to get into the area. Well, it's not a fine detail, but it's a thin brush compared to the one I'm using now. Or I could even go finer and go with a thin tip to get like the eyes or the nose or the mouth, which you'll see later in one of these other videos. But here I'm just going to quickly go over this. Spreading the paint on nice and evenly. Get it spread out pretty nice. I'm going to go over the same areas a few times, just like that. Give it, so that whenever I go back for my second layer of paint, I'll be able to see the areas better, and then whenever I go to cover them, it won't be blotchy, or you won't see a spot, if you use a better term. Yeah, basically, you just don't, if you want this to be as perfect as you can, while noting that this is a pretty damaged item, but to make it as perfect as I can, I'll make sure that if I want the paint even, I'll to do each coat with care and take my time and go back over other portions and look back and see if I have something I could fix. For example of what I mean by the coats, this is a glitter teddy bear. It's made out of silver. I painted this about a week or so ago. I had to do at least 15 different layers of coats of glitter on this. There's two different colors of glitter. You can't see it now. Maybe in one of my brighter videos, because I'm doing this video at night, so I'm just having to work with the lighting I have now. But there's two different kinds of blue glitters I used, and when I spread it, I had to spread it so that the goop that comes along with it is just nice and evenly, even though that the glitter itself, when you first go to spread it, will not spread like normal paint. You'll have to work with it while it dries, spread it out, and work with it while it's drying, because that's the best way to get glitter to spread the way you want. Another example would be this little piece here that I glittered up. It's real silver that I painted into gold to make it look gold. It's an eagle with a claw. I just thought that was neat and show you guys. Well, continuing on with this, you can see, let me back this up. You can see in the face here that whoever painted this, the lady whoever painted this, let's see if I can do this without touching anything, she wasn't very, how do I put this in words, accurate with where she was putting her paint, because her paint is just dripping all over this face. See, this is all supposed to be gold, and that's part of the hair. For some reason, she thought maybe she would blend it in, but it doesn't work well. It doesn't matter now if I get anything on it, because I'm going to go over it anyway. It'll be the last thing that I go over. And what I'm going to go over it with is this metallic paint. It's about 4 or 5 layers of this, and this will be complete. One thing to always remember is to check over everything. I know I probably said this already, but really you tend to forget sometimes when you're doing portions of your art, and if you have like multiple art lined up to do or in mind to finish, sometimes you tend to forget things or don't see it, because sometimes looking at something for so long could make your eyes kind of blur and everything kind of looks the same. It's kind of like looking at a fence, like a wired fence. It doesn't matter with the face here. Oh, one thing I wanted to tell you guys, that when this is all finished, when you go to put varnish on, you will only want to put enough varnish on your brush to cover a whole area like this face. And maybe only do that twice. You don't need whole crap load of varnish. I know you want it to look shiny as you possibly can, but oops, I did a little too much of that face. Oh well. See, that doesn't matter. You only need enough to put on your brush, like I said, and because if you put too much varnish on at a time before each coat could dry, you may end up with like this teddy bear that I'm not sure, you can't really see it on here, but you see little white spaces in between his glasses and the rest of his body. Oh well. I mean, it takes a little bit of practice. One thing about painting something like this is, like, if you're just like a sketch artist and you're not normally doing this kind of art, doing this will help kind of like build your line strength of like going in tight spaces and areas, and especially if you're doing a lot of work and you want it to be perfect the first time. Like if you have your colors set up that you would like to blend together, then this would be perfect practice to like challenge yourself with different colors to make it work for your artwork, and that would help for your drawing skills as well. Because blending paint is basically the same thing as doing it for your drawing skills, for sketching. Hopefully my voice isn't too scratchy. I have a sore throat. And I hear people outside. Creepy. Hello, and welcome to part 2 of this video demonstration. In the first video to this video demonstration, I told you that I would go ahead and go along and do the mane and the rest of the body of this lion so that I would get all the proper coating on before I do the process of varnishing, so I could give you a better tips on the varnish. And now I'm going to go on to explain to you how I did these eyes, which I use purple glitter paint, and I'm going to do a layer of blue on these whenever I go to start this video. Hopefully you stick around to watching it, or if you have missed the first part to this, go ahead and click the annotation link or link in description to the first part. So if you want to see this in its entirety, that's up to you, or you can continue on with this tutorial. I went ahead and did the nose. I used a toothpick. Use a toothpick on the inside to get some of the inner parts. Of course, I went over top of around the mouth to touch up the points where I messed up. But the eyes itself, I did around it with black, with the edge of a Q-tip. I tore the head of the Q-tip off to dampen it in there, so that it would even out the eyes to give it more of a finished look. From last time, you remember that there was a piece missing here. So what I went ahead and did is I already put the piece of, it's like a sticky, almost like a clay material in there, because I was going to explain to you how to fix little broken pieces if you're missing pieces to your structure of whatever object you're trying to paint. The stuff is originally to hang posters on with. You could either use this or use clay. There's clay you could buy at Wegmans that hardens up if you stick it in the oven or just let it sit out to dry for a few days and let it harden. But I decided to go with this wall putty because I could easily manipulate this piece into looking like the rest of the mane. When painting crevices, make sure you get in between all the shadow mark. I had to make sure I went over it 2 or 3 times. More than the normal layers, because I don't know, like some of the angle positions doesn't like to cover as good as I thought it would. Since this is like some kind of plaster material, I'm not sure like what it is, but it's hard to keep a good layer of paint on. Now that we have that bit done, I'm going to go ahead and paint this over with the gold paint. Whenever I did these layers of gold paint on the main, I did 4 separate layers in between one another, giving it at least a half hour to dry. Since this is such a big thing to paint, you might want to wait a full day before doing anything else for like touch-ups, so that whenever you go to paint your next layer or whatever you're going to do or whatever you're touching up, so you don't end up bringing up some of the paint, because this gold goes on very lightly. Usually I have my air conditioner on whenever I go to paint, so it makes it easier, so I can finish a section and move on and wait for the rest to dry, because they put a lot of water in the pigment of this. Of course, there's always a way to thicken it up, but I'm trying to get this done as quick as I can, because I have a whole other video series thing I wanted to show you of a new painting that I got the outline sketches done of, and I'd like to share it with you guys in the next video. And I'll be putting one up of what recently happened in the last few weeks. Something very devastating to me. Kind of made me put off making videos for a while, because it kind of put me in a place like, you know how you feel like you're trying to do something and you've done it for so long, and just to have it being taken right out from underneath you when you think you're gonna get it, kind of put me in that state of mind. But I'm back for good. I'm just not gonna worry about it for right now. I'm gonna take the ads off my videos, so I hope you guys will like that. I will no longer partner with YouTube for the time being. I will partner on Social Blade. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and finish that later. I'm just going to mix it in a little bit more before I go to the second part, because I want to hurry up and do the eyes. This is going to take forever. I'll just do that off camera, because that clay kind of stuff takes forever to dry. What I'm gonna do though is I'm gonna go ahead with the blue. This is a lighter shade of blue. Oh, dab it in there a little bit. Take a little bit off if you need to. You don't need a whole lot, just a little bit. So you're gonna dab that in there just like that. I'm gonna take a little bit off that edge. You just need a little bit of paint on the tip, so that when you stick it in there, if you overdo it a little bit, it won't go on the rest of where you don't need it. Which sometimes I have a hard time doing. Like, even I would mess that up. See? I just messed that up. So, what I'll do is I'll hurry up and bring out that brush and fix that. Just a little bit of water on the brush. There, kind of clean that off. Dry off that brush a little bit. See that? More depth. So when that dries, it'll have a lot of sparkles in it, and it'll make the eyes more noticeable, especially the middle. You could even go ahead and wait till it to dry to do another layer if you want it to be a more darker of a blue with more sparkles in it. Now that I got that part done, I could focus on doing the varnishing. Whenever you're putting a varnish on, you only want to put it on the whole part of the brush. Just go in a large area when you're putting the varnish on. I'm using polyacrylic varnish. And if you have like a fan running, to dry this quicker, you want to make sure that you go over the spot where you put the varnish quickly, so that while it's drying, you'll get rid of all the little white spots that sometimes get in between the crevices. you don't want them white spots, because when those white spots dry, it turns into this little white goop mark. You just want enough varnish in the area to cover it, to make it look shiny. Once this dries, it will shine it up by another, 10-15%. Same thing for over the mouth. Just make sure you don't have too much in the crevices. Come over it nicely. Even spread it around somewhere else if you need it. Underneath the eyes. So once this dries, this will really bring out them eyes. Make sure I go over the face pretty good, in between those little spots for the whiskers. Down the nose. Now, when you know this will be dry, it won't be sticky. For the first couple hours, when you come back to it and touch it, it will feel like it's sticky, like it's when it sticks to your hands. That means it's not completely dry yet. You might want to give it a couple days to fully dry. Taking a small fan probably would work to dry it quickly within a couple days, and just set it in another room. Hopefully the volume works good on this, and hopefully what's going on outside isn't bothering you guys, because it's like, must be like that time of the day. My neighborhood, usually it's quiet. Also, when going in between the toes, make sure that you're just lightly going with the brush. Don't put no force into it, just lightly go over in with the brush. Taking the rest of that, putting it up down through the middle, along the edges, just lightly with the brush. You don't need to put any force into it, because if you put force into it, you may take off the paint. And you don't want to do that, because it just messes it all up, and it just messes up your day. You're not going to have a good time. Anything you would like me to paint or draw after I finish my Zelda Master Shield painting, I will probably get onto that next, since I really need to take more of you guys' requests instead of doing everything that I like, because I want to make sure that I'm getting that good audience and what you guys would like to see done wise for art. I like to do random things here and there because it keeps it different. I like to change it up a little bit. I don't like it to always be the same. Okay, I think that is done. So take a final look at it. It's nice and shiny. Now you just let this dry. Maybe do another layer if you need to of varnish, and give it a day or two to dry. Hey, if you're still watching this video, then I just want to let you know I will do a tutorial on how I take a small scale image and make it into a large scale for a painting of the size for the Zelda Master Shield for a tutorial. So if you're interested in that, I'll upload one soon for it. Just give me some time, and I'm getting back in the swing of things and put more videos. So hopefully you'll like this when this comes out. Thank you.